Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, July 24th, 2023. Yeah, we're past the halfway point for sure. Now I don't know when what's the equinox, summer solstice, whatever. I don't know when that happens, but I think we still have a few more well, maybe a month or two, I guess, of summer weather. And the temperatures have been pretty high, let's say, during the day. I was just reviewing that, and currently we're at 87, I think 87 degrees here. But this coming weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we're going to be close to 100 degrees. That's pretty hot. That's pretty hot. Now I know it's worse in other places, but when you get close to 100 degrees anywhere, it's bad. It is bad. So, hope everybody is doing well. We're going to talk about some stuff tonight. Hopefully, you all are participating. And, if you participate, you get a bell. Yep. Just kind of the reward system that I've developed over years of practice. But if you are interested in talking about a subject or subject matter, by all means, bring it up so we can discuss it. And if you have any pictures or anything you want to send to me, that's fine too. Occasionally we do get some pictures and I can put stuff up from the viewers to discuss what they're working on or what they may be wanting to show off, some things that they've done. So I'm open to that as well. I point that out that if you are interested for that, my email is at the bottom of the screen, joedaddysgarage@gmail.com. And you can send anything, well, within reason. Don't send anything within reason to that email. Okay, so let's see who is here tonight. First in, Terry Keithley, evening all, and Barry. Boy, is it hot. Please hit the thumbs up and like button. Thank you kindly. Thank you, Terry. Glad you're here. Let's see, Jerry checking in from the Money Pit in Middle Tennessee. Good evening to all from Muggy, Middle Tennessee. Thumbs up for Barry. Yes, thank you. Yeah, muggy. Hot is one thing, but hot and muggy, that's a whole nother thing altogether. I know the other day we came outside and it was in the 90s, and it's okay if it's just moderate humidity, but it just so happened we had this just I don't even know. It felt like a 30-second downpour. Just there you go, steam. You're welcome. That always makes it so much more fun. Crash Rider, good evening from a hot and humid southern Indiana. Thunderstorms and hail due shortly per weather alerts. Everyone be sure to leave a like for Joe Daddy. Yes. Thank you, Crash Rider. Dave Tyson checking in. Good evening, all. Glad to hear Dave. Oops. Glad to hear Dave. Got a little, my thumb hit the bell. Robert, the Infernal Craftsman. Evening, all. Typical 106 degrees here for the next month and a half. Business as usual. Yeah. I'm not jealous. Not jealous. Glad you're here, Robert. Rusty's Restoration. Good evening, Barry from Southern Indiana. Like and share, by all means. So we have, let's see. What did I miss? I know that Crash Rider is from Southern Indiana as well. You might be neighbors. Southern Indiana, that's got to be like this big on the map, right? You might be neighbors. Jerry checking in. Howdy, y'all. Hot in Texas, but I'm cool as a cucumber. Dang it, Robert beat me in chat. Oh, well. Have fun, y'all. Glad you're here, Jerry. Busted Knuckle Garage. Tommy. Hello, everyone. Nice day in Alabama. Got a little work done on the 59 Impala. Hope everyone is doing well. Thank you, Tommy. Glad you're here. Troy Justit. Evening all from the fun side of Georgia. How do the rockers look when you got them apart? I haven't gotten the complete, I haven't gotten them completely disassembled. At this point, I have the passenger side rocker assembly out, so the inner and the outer. I still have a lot of work to do to separate the inner from the outer, but we're going to see. Hopefully, they're solid on the inside. Hopefully. But glad you're here, Troy. I don't know if I gave you a bell or not. Bob Shoemaker, evening all from Oklahoma. Hot Temps Limited work in shop today. Still be there tomorrow. Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's always something to work on, right? Rick Stevenson. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Rick. Glad you're here. A little coffee to get things going. RC Guy Garage, hot with humidity. Bonus. Glad you're here, Tim. Mr. Cyrano, Mach 1, Ohio. Hi, all. Glad you're here, Mr. Cyrano. I don't think you've been here in a while. I don't remember. I don't think I've called you out in a while. Maybe I have, but I'm kind of thinking I haven't. So, yeah, if I know that I posted on Patreon that the status of the Mustang project, I should say. It's really projects when you think about it. It's one project putting one together. It's another project taking one apart. And so I went through some of the steps and the process involved. And my approach initially, if you remember back in the first couple of videos, what I wanted to do, or what the plan was to try to use that body assembly. And so I had put in all that inner structure to keep everything in place with the intent of taking out the bottom floor pan and the inner rockers. And of course, as we dug into it deeper and more, we realized there's just nothing that can be done with what's there. And so, we're doing all this and salvaging parts out of that. So to take that apart, what I have done is I cut off, you can see the rocker panel's gone. So my structure worked. It's holding everything in place. And I've done a series of measurements, cross measurements. I've written down a bunch of stuff. And, you need to do that. I had to, I'll just bring this as a point. I keep this spiral notebook here. And I need to have more of these. But like this here. Okay, this is a drawing I did. You know what that's from? That's from the Brooklyn Pony. That was rebuilding the rear. I believe that was rebuilding the rear seat assembly. I think that's what that was from. I think. Anyway, go on from there, and I keep notes on all kinds of different things. And what I wanted to do was make some good notes. Like here's a series of notes on the cowl area, the frame rails, the firewall, all kinds of just information, right? So you need to do that. Here is just a page of just handwritten notes with like definitions, where I'm measuring from and what I'm measuring to. So as an example, I say windshield corner to middle opening between hinge openings. Now I know what that means, but you have to make your own references. Forward lower corner to upper windshield opening, 60.5 inches. So not only have I written this stuff down, but I also wrote the numbers on the new assembly. So I already have an idea. I can find, in this case, 60.5 up in that corner, and find my other 60.5 indication, and measure those. The nice part about it is not only did I write all of that down, but I did a comparison between the two cars, because that one was structurally sound with all of the bracing holding it in place. So all of those measurements correspond. So I'm happy with all of those measurements. I can verify and say, okay, now I'm at a point where I can just basically cut that up, and I already know that I have the measurements that I need. Now, another thing, whenever I was putting this thing together, this is the original firewall sitting right here. So I welded up the holes where the apron attaches, and you can see the bottom of it is not there, obviously. But when I worked that and I put it in place, it actually fit way better than the Dynacorn one. It matched the transition of the top of the cowl that is made by Dynacorn as well. So I'm kind of surprised that the firewall didn't fit exactly the same, but when I put that in place and I clamped everything down, the side pieces they all just squared right up. I mean, they're right there where they're supposed to be. So I was very happy with this and the way it works. Now the challenge, of course, is that lower section where I have to piece in the other part of the firewall, and that'll be a challenge to make it look good and just to line everything up. I don't know if it's going to come out as good as I want it to, because if there's subtle changes or in the shape or something like that, some of that can be hammered and dollied, some may not. But I'll figure it out as I move forward. Um, but anyway, so I have over there on the floor. That's the rocker panel for the passenger side. It still has the inner rocker in place. I took the plasma cutter and cut off everything, and I'm pretty happy with that at this point, because my initial thought when I was starting to do that was I could drill all of those welds out on the body, and then of course my logic kicked in and said, well, wait a minute, I can't, or I don't need to. I can cut all that off and then put it on a bench and be able to grind all those welds off or drill them off. So yeah, making good progress on that. I will get the have the other one out very soon, and again spend countless countless hours grinding off or drilling out the welds. I haven't decided which way I'm going to go yet, and I'll do some comparisons when I get further along between the replacement rocker panel, well, the original rocker panel, and the ones that came with the Dynacorn sides. I want to have everybody see that. I know there's been a lot of discussion about that. Um, the some of the aftermarket ones are wider than the originals. I don't know why everybody has that problem, but I was looking at these, and initially they look like they're the same, other than the angle of the flanges is off slightly, just on the top. But I'll get more into that as I'm making the video and discussing that sort of thing. Let's see, Nick is checking in. Glad you're here, Nick. Hope all is well with you. Oh, I I got an attachment. I don't know if I want to share that attachment or not. It's pretty funny, though. Sorry. Dave Conville. Good evening, all. Glad you're here, Dave. Richard Vogel. Good evening, Barry. I'm really impressed with the amount of work you've done. Looks great. Oh, thank you, Richard. And Michael Pagliarini. Hello, all. Chilling out in the pool. Well, that is interesting. So you're in the pool watching me on live stream. I don't know if that's cool or sad. But hey, I would rather be in the pool broadcasting, I guess. That would be kind of fun, I guess. I'd be more comfortable splashing around in the water, just enjoying the weather. But of course I'm not. Okay, so Nick is doing pretty good. Good. You have to give us some updates on your car, Nick. Let us know what the status is as far as getting the paint work done. I know that we'd talked about that before. So I think you said your painter was getting better, I think, last time we were on, but I don't remember for sure. I've slept a couple times since then. Anyway, so I've been looking at let's see. Terry Keithley, which welder is your favorite, the red one or the blue one? Well, that's a good question. Since you asked, you can see the red one. That's the red one that was recently sent to me. The blue one back there, that's not the welder. That's the plasma cutter that was sent to me by another company. The other ones from that company are now red as well. So red, everything's red. I've got one blue plasma cutter, and I have one blue MiG 205 DS. I also have a black MiG 205 DS and the red CT 2050, I think. And of course the Lincoln's red too, so mostly red. But I will say that little welder right there, that recent one that I got, and we're going to talk about that a little bit too, that thing is doing a wonderful job. Now, I can't complain about the other ones either, but this one currently is doing a really, really nice job. So, shout out to Art Captain for supplying me with that welder. Um, and that's something I wanted to bring up as well. Art Captain has come on board. I think I mentioned it. I think I mentioned it. I don't know if I did or not. But Art Captain has come on board with what was my original idea. Whenever they wanted to send me a welder, I wanted them to basically send me a welder and then offer another one to a winner of the drawing. And they didn't want to do that. They were like, no, we can't do that, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, fine. And I asked them, I said, do you care if I give this one away? And they were like, no, that's fine. You can do whatever you want with it. So after they watched my video, which I know is a bit long, but it shows a lot of information about that particular welder. Then they got on board and they said, hey, we'll provide a welder for the winner of your drawing. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So that means I get to keep that welder and somebody's going to get a new one in the box. So there won't be any shipping. You know, when I initially did this, I said somebody would have to pay shipping to get that welder. Now, here's one drawback. I say drawback. You know, I have the helmet. It's sitting just out of frame there. I have their helmet. And I also said, oh, let me give Jeff a shout out. Hey, Jeff. Awesome, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that very, very much. Very, very much. Thank you. Let me get back up here a second. So there's no, won't be any shipping charge. They're going to ship it from them to whoever wins the drawing, which is very, very cool of Art Captain. So they asked me that I ask you all to go to their Facebook page, I guess, Art Captain, and then they have a Instagram too, something Art Captain something, or, I don't know, Art Captain Office or something like that. So anyway, the other cool thing is they are also going to send with that welder a TIG torch, a pair of gloves, and 2 spools of flux core wire. So you're getting more than what I got from Art Captain. You're going to get a whole package. The other thing is, and I was trying to work this in. I initially said I was going to give that helmet, the helmet that I have, away, and I didn't know how people would feel about that because I used it. You know, I'm not like I'm a gross, sweaty, greasy guy, but I didn't know if people would like that or not. So Art Captain said, was I still planning on giving that hood away? And I said yes. And they said, I said unless you want to chip in and send a helmet as well. And they said no, go ahead and give that helmet away. And I think they're going to send me another helmet or something. So somebody will end up with the slightly used helmet that I used in the videos. And, again, pretty cool by Art Captain. I really didn't expect them to come on board with all that. But now they have, and somebody is going to get a really nice package out of it. So just saying. Just saying. Mr. Mikey, glad to be listening tonight. Hello, all. Glad you're here, Mr. Mikey. Nick saying that his car should be in color. Hold on a second. I got a picture from Nick, so I'm going to have to try to get that downloaded real quick. So he said, should be in color, but didn't have time to get to the shop for an update. Should be all done through this week. Well, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. I'm going to pull that off, and we're going to get Nick's picture of his deck lid. Here you go. Boom. All right. So what is that? What's the color, Nick? I don't know if you mentioned that in the yeah. No mention of what that color is. And are there going to be accents or anything like that? Is it going to be a solid color? Will it be stripes? Ghost flames? Lace on the roof? Or anything like that? You got to have lace or something. Make it make it all different. Dare to be different, Nick. Dare to be different. Okay, let me pull that down for a second. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so Nick did send that picture. We'll have to get more information on that color specifically. Michael, come on in. The water's fine. 78 at this time. Laptop is on the deck and an iced tea. I think you just wrote what is that? Is that prose? Not quite a limerick. It almost had a rhyme going there. Come on in. The water's fine. It's 78 at this time. Laptop on the deck and an iced tea. You know what? You almost have a country song going. You're very close. You're very close. Ray Buckman, good afternoon, Barry and all. Glad you're here, Ray. Thank you for the comment on Patreon. Terry Keithley, you need to autograph the slightly used hood. You know, I can do that. That's a great idea. I will probably... I thought about just putting a sticker on the front of it. Hold on a second. I thought about putting one of my stickers up here on top, but I definitely could sign it somewhere, like on the side right here. It's got a nice curve. Joe Daddy. So yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'll probably send a sticker if they want to put it there. They can, or they can put it somewhere else. It'll be completely up to the winner. But that is a great idea, Terry. Okay, did I say? I said Ray, okay. And Nick, it's a BMW orange, and we'll have satin black hood and tail panel. I like it. I like it. I like it. Nick, black mirrors and door handles, black housing, LED headlights. That's going to look sharp, Nick. I am looking forward to seeing that together. And maybe you can do a viewer's project video and I can share it. That would be nice. We could do that. That would be very nice. So we can consider that, all right? Bruce Roberts. I have a question. I just bought a 70 Mach 1, so enjoying your series on the 69. It's a numbers matching car, so I feel like it should be restored, not modified. Restomod or restoration. I guess, was there a question? Are you? Oh, does it say Restomod or restoration? Is that what it is? There's supposed to be a question mark, I guess, at the end of that. That is a very good question. Now, when you say numbers matching, that's cool. Is there anything special about it? Like, obviously, a Mach 1, I would like to leave it as is, as long as if everything's intact and solid, and original metal and that sort of thing, I wouldn't want to modify anything, right? If it's been kind of run around and rusted out parts and different things like that, I'm more comfortable with doing the Restomod. That's just my opinion. Some people are happy to just cut and paste and do what they want. But I like cars that are, if they're solid and original, I want to leave them alone and just keep it that way. So that's kind of the conundrum. The value can change a lot. Some people really go after the Restomods. Some people really like the pure original car. So there's variables in there. So you'd have to give some more specifics on it. Whether is it a desirable color? Are you talking about painting it a different color? Does it have the right seats in it? Is it a 4-speed? Does it have all the options that you would get with a Mach 1? Does it have louvers on the glass? Any of these things can come into play. If it was a sport roof, those are kind of fair game. A little more, in my opinion. In fact, I know there's a sport roof that's not too far from me that I may still consider getting a hold of if it's still available to me. We haven't been able to meet just yet on that, but being a sport roof, I'm not against doing what I want with it and making it into the car that I want, but it's hard to justify a numbers matching car and turning it into something else. Now there are some variables to that as well, because some resto mods, people will take them apart. Let's say you drop out all the original suspension without cutting or chopping or modifying anything, put in an upgraded suspension, which is similar to what we're doing on the 69. So you could upgrade the suspension package, you could upgrade front and rear, and just keep all the components. So if you're looking at it from that side of things, if you keep everything that belongs to that car, that's a whole another approach. So there's just variables to consider in that process. Hope that helps. Good question, though. Thank you, Bruce. Randy Bayless, I've never welded with flux core, only gas, but trouble with gas with doors open, wind, I guess. Is flux core better in these conditions? Actually, even with a slight wind, not a heavy 20-mile-an-hour wind, I'm just a slight breeze, for the most part, you're not going to find any interference with your welding using regular gas, okay? If you are outside and you're, got more wind and more stuff around that's could cause problems, flux core is very good. Now, the advantage to flux core is if you were to do a remote welding job somewhere or a repair that you couldn't take a gas bottle with you. If you were just taking the basics and you had just a welder with a wire in it, that's the advantage there, is you can just go to town with it and not worry about it. So I don't like to use flux core for like sheet metal work at all. It just doesn't appeal to me. You get such a nicer weld with gas. So that's where I see advantages and disadvantages. So good question, Randy. Danny Alvey. It's hot. Installing a 36K Mr. Cool unit as we speak. Been there. Of course, mine's not 36. I think it's 24. But it does the job for what I need. Ray Buckman could always send a green hat with it. That's a possibility too. That is a possibility. Never know. Mr. Mikey, come on in. The water's fine. 78 at this time. I don't know. I do like to do rhymes and stuff like that, but I don't want to sit here and write out a country song at the moment. Nick, I will do that actually. My buddy has a drone that follows with GPS. We can do rolling shots. I'm planning a nice John 4 style burnout. That would be awesome, Nick. That would be awesome. Give it some length. Don't just do like a little, here's a burnout. Do some cool footage. And like I said, I'll put together I'll even do all the editing and stuff like that. So it'll be really cool. Mr. Cyrano, if it is a numbers matching resto, if it is a numbers matching car, do a restoration. If not, do whatever you want with it. There you go. There's some input from Mr. Cyrano. Bruce Roberts, nothing remarkable about it for sure. It's really original with most of the options. Yeah, I'd have a hard time. Making a Restomod out of an original Mach 1 that is in great shape. Yeah, I'd have to do a restoration on it. The thing is, I'm on the fence on some of this, because I understand the Restomod stuff. I understand the restoration stuff. I also understand the rust bucket, junky car, approach. The rat rod, even a rat rod Mustang is cool to me, but it's hard to go between those lines somewhat. Now, you could put on some custom wheels and still be within the realm, but I'd really have a hard time modifying or changing the overall characteristics. Again, there is that gray area where if you want to take out all the suspension and stuff and put on the upgrades, keep the original stuff. Put it aside. Keep it in a box. And if you ever decide to sell it, and that's the only mods you've really done to it, hey, here's all the parts that go with it to make it if you want to put it back to original. Um, Now, would I put like a Coyote in it or something? No, no, I wouldn't do that. I would keep. Yeah, I don't know what engine's in it, but I would probably keep the original engine and drivetrain and just cruise it and enjoy it. Is likely what I would do. Patrick, what have you felt is or will be the most challenging part of the current build? Um, let's see. I think I still have challenges ahead that are going to be difficult. I really do. Um, Sheet metal work, like doing what I'm doing, I'm very comfortable with all this. This doesn't. This doesn't. I get a little apprehensive because I'm concerned about the quality of the job that I'm doing. Right. So I want to make sure I always talk about having zeros. So I want my gaps to be consistent. I want my welds to be consistent. I want my measurements to be consistent. I don't want a gray area. Like when I say zeros, I want everything to line up and not have a +1 or +2 or anything like that. Um, the To this point, the deepest challenge has been saving pieces like this firewall because it's a different approach than just cutting that thing out or not even using it. So you have to think about, how do I save this piece without destroying it? So you start grinding off welds rather than drilling out welds. Or um, if you do grind, you just want to get to the surface and not go past that. So those sort of things are the challenge. Now, the time consuming stuff is saving, again, these parts, but like the rocker panels. There's a lot of welds on those rocker panels. So the difficulty is time in that case. You don't want to do too much and damage the original part. So you kind of have to kind of go back and forth a little bit on the process. Probably the next, well, there's gonna be some other challenges on this car. I'll tell you that. The firewall, even though I'm modifying this, it's going to have some sort of big 10-speed automatic transmission in it. A late model Mustang 10-speed, whatever that number is going to be going in this car. So that transmission tunnel is going to have to grow. So I'm even kind of a little bit hesitant to put that in just yet, because I'm going to have to modify it again. So that's a challenge. There may be a challenge involved with the transmission tunnel. The actual bracing that goes in there may not be suitable for that transmission. So that's a challenge. We're also going to be putting in mini tubs. So that means the rear frame rails are going to have to get moved. And along with that, we're putting in frame connectors. So there's several things in the works that are going to be time consuming because, again, I want my zeros. I want everything lined up and fitting as it's supposed to be. So yeah, good question. Not an easy answer to give because there's a lot of things that are involved with it. Terry Keithley, how about a case of gobs? Hint, hint. I can't supply gobs, but I will say maybe we can work. I don't even know yet, because we are going to do. My wife and I are going to do another road trip. We're going up. We're going to be going to Pennsylvania again, and part of that is to pick up the spare engine, transmission, supercharger, some fenders, maybe some other parts for the Studebaker project. So I have thought about it. What if I am able? Well, no, I'm not going to be giving that away anyway. Never mind. Our captain is sending the welder. I'm not going to be delivering that welder anywhere. All it's just going to be the hood. So that's out of the picture, unless somebody's on the path, unless somebody's on my route within 20 miles of the interstate of where we're headed. If they were, then I might be able to hand deliver the welding hood. But as it is, I don't think we'll have any access to gobs. Sorry, Terry. Ray Buckman, I think the first place to go with the car is to get a MARTA report just to determine how rare the car is. That's a great idea. Yeah, talking about the Mach 1 project, the Restomod we were talking about. Great idea, Ray. Troy, I'm impressed with the Art Captain Welder and the company. I like their Facebook to help out. Okay. I'm sure they will appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I had Yes Welder provide multiple machines to me, which is fantastic. They came here and they filmed at my house. But the reality is, they're not paying me every month. They're not paying me to be a spokesperson. I'm not on a contract with anybody. And so, if somebody else wants me to talk about their project or product, well, I'm free to do that. In fact, I had another offer. I've talked about this before. I had another offer just today for another welder from a whole different company, and I'll just share this with you. This is from, I don't even know how to, SSIMDER, Simder Welder. Of course, he says his name is Jason, which I know is not Jason. Business manager. We sell mostly welding machines, and if you're interested, you can check out our website here. So they gave me a link to their website, and I would like to see if there's any chance we can collaborate. I really like what you share on YouTube. You look very good at welding, and I can see from the comments that your followers really like your welding project. Please let me know if you're interested in how we can start collaborating. So that's a whole nother company that wants to send me a welder. I don't need to have. What do I have now? 7. I think I have 7 welding machines and a plasma cutter. I don't need that many. It's nice to do this, but that's kind of why I was wanting to do the giveaway, because there's so many that I can only keep so many of these things, right? So, but that's. I do like that our captain has come on board and that they're actually giving away the welder, a new welder, in the box. So, again, thank you, Troy. Bruce Roberts, thanks, Barry. Restored it's what I want to do with the car. Value the input. Awesome. And Bruce says, Marty report says 1,262 cars delivered like that. That's a pretty good number. You need to tell us what color it is, though. You need to give us some options. Just let us know. I want to say it's Acapulco blue. Please tell me. No, I'm just kidding. Is it grabber blue? That would be even better. Grabber blue. Yeah. Let me know. Troy, what have you decided to do with Jade? Keep it or sell it? I'm probably going to sell Jade. I'm still on the side of the fence that's going to sell it. There's a couple of things that I still have to fix. I haven't finished putting in the horn button. There's I want to make sure that the cooling system is working as it should be. So there's still just a couple things that are preventing me at this point from actually putting it up for sale. But yeah, I'll probably be. I say probably. I don't know when exactly. I got to get things done. But yeah, but Jade is probably going to be for sale. I don't know if it'll be this year yet or not. Once I get Jade done, I'm probably going to build the Acapulco car, the blue 68 that I called Poco. That would probably be the replacement for Jade at this point. So, good question, Troy. Charles, Barry is a consummate craftsman, way beyond expert. I have extreme confidence in him. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate that. Terry Keith says, find the build sheet. Yeah, talking about the 70. Yeah, that would be not. Danny Alba, have you looked at installing convertible inner rockers in the Cobra Jet? No, no, it's going to get frame connectors, so that's going to alleviate that. But it's going to get frame connectors. Dawn's Manufacturer. Hello, everyone, from nice 75 degree PDX. Glad to hear Dawn. Yeah, I was watching. I know you put in the windshield. I watched that video, and you rolled it outside, did some video on Betsy. Car looks great. It really does. I'm impressed. All that effort you went through to make it look good has paid off. Has paid off. So kudos. Evan's Garage. Hey all, I'm late again. I think one more time, one more and I get detention. Yeah. You have to come over here and sweep the garage. Yep. That'll be your punishment. Bruce Roberts, Wimbledon white. Yuck, but that's the code. Oh, wait a minute. Wimbledon white? That's not bad. That's not bad, actually. I'm a fan of Wimbledon white. I am. Um, whenever it's freshly done, let me see if I have like this. That car's Wimbledon white. Yeah, I did a bunch of work to that car. I had to really address the quarter panels. That car has the big drag slicks on it. You can see the door gap on that car. That's a paint stick thick. He wanted it tight. I made it tight. But yeah, Wimbledon white. I don't mind Wimbledon white at all, especially if it has. Um, does it have the Mach 1 stripes on it? All that stuff? Does it have the Mach 1 black hood? Let me tell you, I like it. I like Wimbledon white. Um, Robert, better than the beige that my 66 was. Yes, beige is, yeah. You know, the only car, the only car uh, I'll say I like this car is the 65 Impala that I've done several things on here in the shop. Belongs to an old friend of mine, 65 Impala four door, and it's painted beige. And that's fine. That looks great on that car. It is what it is. Nick, I love Wimbledon white. Yes. Yeah, you need to have a different approach. Bruce, Wimbledon white is an excellent color. It really is. It really is. The difficulty is the lines all have to be good. All your gaps have to be good for Wimbledon white. Dawn's Manufacturing, thanks, Barry. Light at the end of the proverbial tunnel. Yes, and I'm looking forward to you driving to Georgia so I can look at it in person. Let me know when you're going to do that, Dawn. I'll make sure I'm home. Nick, I'll sweep your garage, but only with an air wand and a big gulp in the other hand. I can do that. You have to provide your own big gulp. But yeah, we can do the air wand. Evan's Garage, my 67 was Pebble Beige originally. Wimbledon White is classic, though. Yes. Yeah, I think in my scale of colors, I'm going to default on the 69 in particular to Acapulco Blue because my dad had one, first Mustang I ever loved. So I'm going to default to that Acapulco Blue. So if you're going with, I don't know, I can't say what all the colors were in 70. I know Acapulco Blue, right? Um, I believe they did have Gulfstream Aqua, so I'm a fan of Gulfstream Aqua. But I also like the the jet black um, 69s. I really like that. And then um, I don't like I don't mind a red car. I don't want to own a red car, a red Mach 1. I'd rather have blue or black or some sort of a green. Um, but like the burgundy, You know, the brandy a brandywine type of color. I like that. I think that looks cool. And Wimbledon white would be up really high on that list. So there were other colors that weren't very appealing at all. There's some kind of weird yellows and some greens and even some blues that are not great. Um, but yeah, you're okay with Wimbledon white. Ray says Wimbledon white for a 70. That's a great color. It is. It is. Michael Pagliarini, they are having lots of problems with the 10-speed auto transmission. The 6-speed is stronger as far as horsepower, still a common problem on both. Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with either, so I'll take your word for it. Bruce, yes, black hood stripe, all the badges are there, 351 decals, etc. Louvers, front scoop, and trunk spoiler. Well, yeah, that's an awesome car. Yes. Yes, you need to send me a picture of that if you have a picture. Just send me a picture. Wait. Hold on. Just send me a picture. Okay, so I have somebody else send me a question. I'll have to answer later. But yeah, send me a picture of that if you have one, so that it's at the bottom of the screen. JoeDaddy'sGarage@gmail.com. That would be awesome. Troy, sounds like Don has a road trip in his future. I would head west for that. Hey, yeah, if Don's going to drive here, you could meet me here. That would be fantastic. Yeah. Nick, I love grabber green on a 69. I don't like the loudness of that color, but I love that color on a 69. I like the grabber. I mean, I guess I can't picture grabber green specifically in my mind. Grabber blue, grabber yellow. I think they even had an orange, but it was at the 70. Because I know they added more colors in the 70 model. But yeah, Wimbledon white, louvers, all that stuff. Yeah, you're good to go. Keep it like it is. I was talking about earlier about the, my list of measurements and all that stuff, and I try to push it that whenever you're doing these projects, measure, test fit, make sure everything is lined up and doing what it's supposed to do before you do any major welding, right? And I know that I have a body jig that I built, so I have that advantage. But I've done other cars without any kind of body jig. I've used jack stands. I know Peterson uses jack stands on a steel table, and he expresses why he does that. And that's all well and good. But I recently had somebody send me some pictures, and they're trying to rebuild a 65 or 6, and they're asking for help. And I'm trying to help, but they're having a problem with they're like this car. They're replacing almost everything by the looks of it. But they've got a big gap on the driver's side between the door and the new rocker panel they're putting in this car. But I look at the pictures, and they have the car is on the pinch welds on jack stands by the looks of it, but it still has all the rear suspension hanging on it, which is basically pulling it down. It may not feel like it or look like it, but that is putting a torsional load on, or let's say like a cantilever function. It's pulling down on the back of that car. And so I try to, when I've done a lot of my work, I have put the jack stands underneath the rear axle. And at least at that point, all of the weight is supported, just like it was sitting on the ground. It's just elevated. In the front, I'll put the jack stands underneath the where the torque box would be, let's say, in that location. If I'm not working on the front end, I'm not as worried about that pulling down. There's a lot of structure up there. But when you're trying to do the like a rocker panel, you don't want any kind of torsional load. You don't want any stresses pulling on the car. So I'm just trying to express that when you're doing these sort of things, look at what you're doing and look at how the load is on the car. Obviously, if you can support it where the tires sit and all the weight is dispersed like it would be sitting normally, even if you went so far as to put jack stands in the front where the belly bar goes, right? Because that's where the suspension is. So the load is carried throughout the whole vehicle. Now, I would still use jack stands underneath the pinch wells at the rockers just to tighten it up. I even take shims. I'll put jack stands underneath, and I'll put shims on the jack stands in order to put a load against the bottom of the pinch welds, just to try to not have those sort of problems. Now, I don't know if the problem is specifically because of the weight hanging off the back of the car, because he's already done the passenger side, and he sent me pictures, and it looks great. But I don't know if there's another problem with the rest of it. If it had to, maybe the rocker panel's built wrong, maybe the door isn't built right. I don't know. But it's just trying to eliminate the variables is where my approach is there. Let's see. Nick, 70 was Calypso Coral, I think, for orange. That is a very nice color. That is a very nice color with the accents. In fact, there's a picture or a series of pictures that have been on all over the internet of, I think it's a 70, and I believe it's painted that color. And the shop that was working on it took a grinder and discovered the whole car is made out of Bondo. Like the whole car is made out of Bondo. But I remember that color. But they had taken it like up where the fender and the extension headlight bucket meet. There's no seam on that car, and it looked like it was an inch thick of Bondo. And they had taken a grinder and cut through all of those. And the whole car was like that. I'm sure you could find those pictures. I'm not going to dig them up. But I do remember that color. So, yeah, I like that color. Nick, Graphic Green is sort of a vibrant teal that leans more towards the green shade. Okay. I mean, I always like greens. Just not like pea green, not a fan of stuff like that. Okay, so I have a picture. Hold on a second. Let me eliminate. Hold on. I gotta delete the right picture here. Okay. Oh, you know what I was talking about, the whole idea of test fitting and measuring and all that stuff. I think I found a way to make. I'm gonna probably try to make some T-shirts that say "test fit, test fit, test fit." And I'll have to put like Joe Daddy's Garage on or something like that. Or maybe I'll just put, if I put my name, nobody's gonna Barry who. But I may make some T-shirts that say that specifically. So test fit, test fit. Okay, so Bruce has sent me a picture, and oh wow, and that was originally Wimbledon white. It's got the louvers, got the wing. Yeah, I can't make the picture any bigger, but let me look at it on my computer. Oh yeah. Okay, so I've expanded the picture on my computer. That looks really nice. Now the grill, maybe my mind is defaulting to the '69 style grill, um, but I assume that's the way they look. I can't picture any different grill for that at the moment. And it's got the Mach 1 trim on the side. At least from what I can see, that car looks really straight. I mean, it looks like it's that paint's not even bad. I see a little bit of fading on the hood, maybe. It could just be the weather. Because it looks like that's like summer up there, right? You're up in Saskatchewan. So that's a midsummer picture up in Saskatchewan. Midsummer it is. Yeah, that's a good looking car. That's a good looking car. All right, we back here to comments. Um, okay. Oh wait, I missed one. No. Jerry, my '66 is woven in white and was the original color. Well, that's cool. Terry Keithley, hands down, yes, yes. Nick, they did have a Grabber orange. Yeah, they just threw Grabber on the front of the names. See, I'm a fan of Grabber blue, of course, because you've all seen the Model A, and that, of course, is Grabber blue, which they never had in 1931. But it has Grabber blue on it because that's what I wanted on it. Okay, let's see. Ray, my first Mustang was woven in white with black vinyl roof and red interior. That poor car went through heck with me. Okay. Ray Buckman, I saw that photo. Worst bodywork ever. Well, it was really great bodywork from that perspective. You could not. It looked smooth. I will say that it looked smooth before they chopped it up with a grinder. So whoever did it was an artist. Yeah, but yeah, it was horrible. Evans Garage. Hey Barry, looks like in the shop model for '67 they attached upper and lower cowl together, and then installed as a unit. Not what I'm doing, but you ever do one like that? I don't like to do it that way. And reason for that, if you have like a spot welder, like they used, that's one thing, right? But if we're doing it with a MIG, you have to be able to attach all three pieces together somehow. And that's why I like to fit the lower cowl in place, weld it all in, put the upper cowl on, and weld it all together as, independent pieces. Um, Along with that, there's prep work, of course, as we all know. You need to prep work around the little chimneys, the little towers inside, and take care of that interior space. But yeah, I wouldn't do one as an assembled piece. I wouldn't. I'd rather do one piece at a time. Good question, Evan. Let's see, Troy. I agree, Nick. Calypso Coral is a great color. Yes. Evans Garage, Bruce. I like that blue. Yeah, that's a pretty blue. Troy. I like the blue over the Wimbledon white. Oh, Troy, we had him. He's going to paint it Wimbledon white. Leave him alone. Bruce is missing the small pony in the center. Okay, that may be just what's throwing me off there. That may be just the one thing that's, yeah. That could be what's throwing me off. And again, I'm more used to the '69. Ray Buckman, '69 headlights were on the outside fender, '70 were inside the grill. Yes. Yeah, I know that the grill has changed a lot each year. They did, a little this, little that. And if I remember, the '69 has the boxy grid type of thing. So the '70 obviously has a a flat, wide grill with slits in between. So definitely a different look. Now I don't know what they did like for the Shelby version of that. I don't know what they used for the grill setup, but um, just kind of pops in my mind a little bit. Nick, 70 is my favorite year, man. I just love them. Okay, well you could probably I bet you he would trade for your car. I bet you he would trade for your car, Nick. But I know you wouldn't want to trade for that car because you've got your beastly car going. Evan, yep, got the lower column already in prep this week. Seemed like too many variables to install as a unit without the alignment holes from the factory. Yeah, yeah, and also, like I said, I've done videos on it before where I've taken brushable seam sealer and go around the stacks, the chimneys. I know Peterson has demonstrated that as well, and he used some sort of encapsulator paint inside of there. Um, I've used Rust-Oleum before. I've been happy with Rust-Oleum. Rust-Oleum is a very tough paint, and one is probably just as good at the other at that point. Again, I stress that whenever we look at these cars now, um, there's there's I would say zero chance. We'll just say zero chance that these cars will see the life that they did when they were new. Uh, Most of us will drive these cars, if we're lucky, once a week, once a month, once every few months. We may just get them out and play with them a little bit, stuff like that. But they will not, should not, see the weather conditions that they did when they were new. So the cowls that we see, they all rust out, um, and there was nothing in there. Think about that. There was basically no paint inside of those cowls. Just like most of the rest of the car, there wasn't paint anywhere. No primers. They just put it together and said, "Good luck. See you in 3 or 4 years when you bring this car back and you want to buy a new one." So I would say that for the most part, I don't know anybody who daily drives any of these cars, except for one. I will say that there's one guy that I know, and this is going to sound crazy, but I went to school for aircraft maintenance in Pittsburgh, and this guy that I went to school with, he drove, I believe, it's either a 69 or 70 Charger. Um, let me just. It's either 69 or 70, right? Um, he drove that car back and forth to school every day. Well, we both worked together at Delta. We hired in at the same time, and he drove that car every day to work. And up until the time that I left, he was still driving that same car 29 years later. The exact same Charger. Yeah, every day. And I know it's blue, black interior, and I will say that I got up close to it. I hadn't seen it in a long time. I got up close to it several years ago, and it has problems. There's rust, there's paint flaking off and stuff coming apart, but he just drives that car every day. That's the only person I've ever known who literally drives a classic car everywhere he goes. And kudos to him. I wouldn't want to do that, but he does it. Let's see, Evans Garage, rust encapsulator and seam sealer around the hats, but you're right, it'll be a garage queen, should outlive 2 of my lifetimes. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know anybody who other than this one guy who drives these cars or these classic cars like that. Um, I mean, I think for the most part, now his car is not restored, but it's also not pristine. It's been around for a while, and it's. I mean, I saw that car with snow tires on it, but for the most part, again, they're going to sit in a garage until we feel like, well, it's a nice day. Maybe I'll go to the cruise in tonight, which is 10 miles down the road. Maybe. A chance of rain and nobody does, even takes it out. Nick, other than snow, I'm driving the wheels off mine. I could have bought a house or put a good dent in the price of a house, so I'd feel ill if I didn't use it. Okay? Well, I know you're going to enjoy that car, Nick. It's gonna be sharp. I can't wait to see it all together. I really can't. Robert, even daily drivers here are rarely ever in the rain. Cars really only get wet here when washed. Yeah, you're talking about in Texas. Yeah, the any car that I've had, like the Model A, I restored that car, finished it in 2007. Okay, so it's going on 16 years ago that I rebuilt that car. I've never washed it. Never. It only got wet twice. And that's when I drove it somewhere and I had to drive it home and it rained. And then when I got it home, I wiped it all down. I've never washed that car. The only thing I ever do is use McGuire's One Touch, I think is what it is. Spray it on, wipe it off. Spray it on, wipe it off. I've never washed that car, and I don't plan to. Even Jade, I won't wash Jade. I will spray it with the One Touch, wipe it down. That's all I ever use. Nick, I even bought a fancy wiper delete system from the Choice Speed for the rain. I can't wait to see it either. I'm excited. Yeah. So a fancy wiper delete system. So what is it? What'd you replace it with? I don't know what that is. Does that have air nozzles or something? Blows compressed air up the windshield? I don't know. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, delay. I read that as delete. I was like, what? Because delt. That could easily be delete. Okay, delay system from Jeep Choice Speed. Okay, now that makes more sense. Thank you, Nick. I was confused. Dawn says, rain don't stop me and Betsy. Yeah, well, you don't have a choice, Dawn. You don't have a choice out there in Portland. It rains like every other half hour, right? Is that pretty much the norm? Yeah, I know that I know people who have classic cars. They've had them for years. And again, they do the One Touch to wipe them down, and that's it. But I'm not I wouldn't intentionally drive. If it was raining, I'm not going to go out and open a garage, fire up the Mustang, and say, "All right, let's go." No, not going to do that. Part of that is, well, I don't want it to get rained on, first of all, but secondly, when you're out driving these things around, there are some problems with wet roads, inadequate drivers, and we're all accustomed to ABS and stuff like that. So you get a car out there with some nice tires on it. You could easily have a hydroplane issue on wet roads. You could have somebody pull out in front of you and you hit the brakes and you can't stop. So there's variables that come into play. I'm not gonna take that chance. Not with rain. Leonard, evening all, late to the show. Glad you're here, Leonard. Robert, my neighbor deletes the wipers on his cars. Looks better without it, and there is no need for wipers. Well, okay, I believe you. Denny, my wife accuses me of owning a furniture car. A furniture car. I've never heard that expression. Dawn saying goes, if you look east and see Mount Hood, it's going to rain. If you can't, it already is. Yeah. Randy Bayless, I like primered classic cars, not afraid to drive them. Yeah, yeah. Once you get the paint on it, it's a whole different animal. It really is. Now you don't want to park it anywhere close to anybody. You know, you don't want bugs hitting it. All the stuff that happens to cars. Um, oh yeah. So you're talking about. I was just thinking. Whenever you said Mount Hood, it's going to rain. But I was mentioning I'm going to be taking that road trip. Not this weekend, but the next weekend, the 5th, somewhere around there. Um, but I plan to. We're going to drive up to Pennsylvania, and then I'm going to drive to Akron, Ohio, or probably thereabouts. That'll be that'll be on a Friday, the 4th. So I'm not saying that I could or couldn't meet anybody on that route, but it's possible, you know. Um, so it'll be basically from, well, if anybody knows where Johnstown is, driving from Johnstown to Akron area, whatever's in between there. I don't know, but there may be a chance if somebody's on that route that we could say hi. Let's see, Nick. You bunch of ninnies, drive them. Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know where exactly or what the traffic is where you live, Nick, but here around Atlanta, yeah, I I I don't even like driving a regular vehicle around the clowns because there are people. I mean, you'll be driving, and if you were on the bypass or the interstate, if you're doing 85, you're normally being passed. I mean, like, boom, boom, boom. It's crazy. Naked Sex is basically a NASCAR with meth. That could be a whole new series. That might be worth watching. I haven't watched NASCAR in years. The new meth race. Oh, wee. See how long they can go. Look, he's going to change his own tires. Whole new level of competition. Yeah, hey, that's yeah. Nick says revive the sport. That's a question. Again, I haven't kept up with NASCAR in many years. I know they do stickers that make it look like a Mustang or a Camaro or whatever, but I saw a video clip. Um, I don't know if I saw what I thought I saw. Have they gone to a one lug nut deal on NASCAR, like the Formula One cars and stuff? Have they done that? Um, I thought I saw something where they're using a different wheel now. I could be wrong. Maybe it was just a different event, but I thought I saw a video. So, um, yeah. Oh, Nick says, and he sold the tires. Dawn, car wash will delete your wipers for you. Yeah, that's nice of them. Thanks a lot. Uh, let's see. Game. I guess it's Game Freak. Charlotte skips the traffic wrap at 77, and 277 is squirrel bait traffic. Hope you and all chat are doing well. Well, thanks for checking in. Nick says, whoop, hold on. All right, Nick, come in. There you are. Yes, it's a Unilug. That's what I thought. Why? It's the what are they talking about? The ADHD thing. They can't sit there and watch them change 5 lug nuts. They have to simplify it. It's a microwave society. Hurry up, get the race over. Hurry up, change the wheels. Let's keep going. And then they do this thing where they stop after 30 laps or something and go eat a sandwich or something. I don't know. I haven't, like I said, I haven't kept up with it. I know they do these scheduled pit stops or something. Take all the fun out of it. Next is their 18-inch wheels now too. Crazy. Dave Britton, better late than never. Hi all. Glad to hear Dave. Dave Tyson says yes, one nut. Yeah. Michael, Camp Perry trip. I gave you my wish list. Camp Perry. Okay. I'm kind of a little lost on that. You have to refresh me. Tommy says the Cup cars use knockoff wheels. Yeah. Robert, yep, lots of changes in NASCAR, but I rarely watch anymore. I get dizzy watching cars go in circles these days. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be driving than watching myself, but I'm probably past that point as well. Now I'm just a danger on the road. Game Freak, make it more like F1 and old school Le Mans. Yeah, the old school Le Mans would be cool, where you got to run out and get in your car and fire it up and go. That'd be more exciting. Yeah, they've I don't know. It feels like watching a little bit of NASCAR when I was a teenager, and then moving to Georgia in the early 90s, and that era of NASCAR was really cool to see, the Aero Coupes, the Luminas, the Thunderbirds, the Pontiacs, even Oldsmobile was a Buick was still out there, and whatever Mopar ran after Petty. But that was still cool because they were still finding ways to get away with things, to cheat the system and pull off these races. And now it's like, okay, here's your car, put your stickers on it. We'll see you at the track. Here you go. Make it exactly the same as anybody else's. Robert, I would like to see racing like the old F1 where teams were able to develop new and cool stuff for the cars, unlike today where they clamp down on innovation, etc. Yeah, there's no... Here's the rule book. Well, why don't we just give you all spec cars, Why don't we just... Here you go. You can build your engine, but it only can be this many cubic inches, and it can only be this many horsepower, and blah, 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 and you can only use this rear end gear ratio, whatever. Now, you want to run high on the track, change your gears. Want to run low, change your gears. Game Freak, nothing like seeing Mike Skinner run full kilt towards his car. Full kilt or full tilt? Yeah. Or what was it? Jimmy. What was Jimmy? Gosh. The guy, like Jimmy. He drove the camel car. I can't think of his name now. Then you have the stops that NASCAR makes are prepping for electric cars in the future for charging. Terry Keith says, yes, yep, they are. Okay. Game Freak. Tilt. Yeah. Text to speech is more entertaining. Yeah. Ed, NASCAR is like a big IROC race. All the cars are the same. Yep. That's pretty much what I was saying. Yeah, Jimmy Spencer. Thank you, Dave. Jimmy Spencer. I could see him running towards this car. I remember, I think it was when pretty sure it was Kurt Busch, and it may have been an IROC race. It may have been an IROC race, and Jimmy Spencer was in it, and Kurt Busch, and they were I don't know what they were, Charlotte or something, and yeah, I think it was an IROC race. Anyway, whatever the race was, Kurt Busch came up and he spun out Jimmy Spencer on purpose. And of course took out Jimmy Spencer. And I don't know if Kurt Busch managed to mess his car up or what. And after the race, they were interviewing Kurt Busch. Pretty sure it was Kurt Busch. And he was saying something about, it was just Jimmy Spencer and we needed a caution anyway. Yeah, that didn't go over too well. And if I remember, they had footage of Busch sitting in his car, and Jimmy Spencer come over and just plowed him. And I don't know if he knocked him out or not, but he plowed him in that car. And it's lucky he didn't pull him out of the car and just beat him to death, because he was unjustifiably mad at Kurt Busch. Next is electric NASCAR. Here comes the skateboarders flaying. Flaying sounds better. Flaying skateboards. That would be even better. I like that. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. I could see the flaying. Like the chariots with the mace on the end of it, swinging that thing around. Whack! And he's out of the race. Dave Campbell, Spencer clocked Busch while he was still sitting in the car. Great footage. Yeah, that's when I really became a Jimmy Spencer fan. Nick, maybe they'll pipe the Jetsons car sound through the PA. Yeah. Yeah, I mentioned. Like I said, I mentioned that I did go, or was somewhat into NASCAR in the early '90s, and I have a ton of collectible stuff from that time period. 91, 90, probably 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, somewhere in that range. I don't even know what all I have anymore, but the fun part I had with doing that was I would go to the Atlanta race and do security. I think I've talked about this before. So I would do security. It was a fundraising thing. The money that I would make would go to like a children's charity or something like that. So I used to go to the races basically for free, just stand there and watch right on the edge of the track. So that was a lot of fun. But the one thing I did like to do was go to the tool challenges. They'd have either tire changing or they would do a tool thing with Craftsman tools or something like that. African Cobalt, I don't know what it was. But the one year we were down there and there was a tire changing event, and I'm believe it or not, I'm pretty competitive. And so the tire changing event, you had to take it off, or you take the lug nuts off, take it off. And they had the lug nuts on like springs to hold them to the wheel. And so I kept doing it over and over, and I kept getting my time faster and faster and faster. And then I ended up competing against an actual guy who was a tire changer for one of the teams. And we went through all the stuff, and I beat him. And he was like, he just said, "Okay, I'm done. I can't do any better than that." And he left. I was like, cool. So I ended up getting some sort of, prize, whatever, out of that. And the tool challenge thing, I won that twice, and they sent me like toolboxes or something, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Hold on. Game Freak soon it'll be a lot. I'm thinking it says slot car racing, and the box seats have the triggers. Hey, now that would be fun. Full scale slot cars. Yeah, why not? Dave Conwell, I think that was Bush's rookie year. He needed an attitude adjustment. If Spencer didn't do it, Stewart would have done it eventually. He even after that, he needed some attitude adjustment. Him and Kyle both. Yeah. Ed, electric NASCAR so big slot car racing. Yeah, that would be interesting. Michael Peglierini, Camp Perry is in Ohio. It's where the Nationals are held for high power rifles and target pistol. I have competed there many times. I have placed top 4 3 times. Well, that's awesome. Good for you. Yeah, you may have told me about it. I don't know. Let me just. Um, I know you mentioned it in the comment, but I lost that comment. Where's it at? I don't know where it's at. Anyway, so that's cool that you finished that high. That's commendable. I know of. I never did any rifle competitions. I did pistol competitions. Okay, so Michael says, Camp Perry, I guess I give you my wish list. Okay, sorry. Anyway, so yeah, the NASCAR stuff. I've got a bunch of that. I need to sell it off or something because I don't need any of it. I think I have few autograph things from like Jeff Gordon and um, I can't think of the guy's name. He drove for Earnhardt, his buddy that died in the Daytona. Drove for the mom and pops Chevrolet. Neil Bonnet. I have a car, like a mom and pop's car, that has his autograph on it. Not that anybody like is probably going to care anymore because that was such a long time ago. So, anyway, I can feel my voice is starting to go, starting to get rough on me. So I'm going to have to call it a night. This has been fun. We've had some good chats. Got to see some interesting cars and some paint colors. So that's all cool. Yeah, yeah, I like that. So anyway, I'll be back next Monday at 7 o'clock. I am working on the next video in this series. Part of it deals with the firewall, and part of it's going to deal with the rocker panels, getting all that stuff apart, and of course, trying to put the rest of the car back together. So it's getting closer every time I work on it, obviously, and it's really going to be fun to get all this stuff back together and make it look like a complete car again. So that'll be it for tonight. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.